Turkey is under attack. Four ballistic missiles were launched toward its territory, signaling a dangerous escalation in the ongoing Iran, United States, and Israel conflict. The world is asking who is responsible for these strikes: Iran, Israel, or another hidden actor. The geopolitical tension in the Middle East has reached a critical point, and Turkey, as a key NATO member, has become a central player in this crisis. Last night's missile launches have raised serious concerns about regional stability and the possibility of a wider war. The timing of these attacks could not be more alarming. Turkey has long maintained a delicate balance between its regional influence in the Middle East and its obligations as a NATO member. Historically, Ankara has navigated complex alliances, often acting as a bridge between the Western powers and the Muslim world. Yet, this latest missile strike has forced Turkey into the center of a storm that could redefine its strategic posture. Analysts note that the missiles were highly precise, launched with advanced technology that indicates state-level capabilities. While NATO's missile defense systems intercepted all four missiles over the eastern Mediterranean, the implications of this attack extend far beyond immediate physical damage. In the last few days, diplomatic efforts had intensified. Pakistan, China, and several Arab nations were actively mediating to prevent escalation. Pakistan's foreign minister was scheduled to visit China to coordinate ceasefire negotiations, signaling a serious attempt to engage global powers in stabilizing the region. China, increasingly active in global security matters, may provide indirect support to the United States, ensuring that escalation can be contained. Yet, despite these efforts, the missile strikes reveal a fundamental flaw in regional coordination. Not all actors desire peace, and some may benefit strategically from conflict. The attacks on Turkey have raised critical questions. Was this a direct act by Iran, a covert operation by Israel, or a calculated move by another hidden player seeking to destabilize the region? The answer is complicated. Iran has denied responsibility, claiming that Israel carried out the strikes to provoke Arab nations into taking military action against Tehran. This pattern of strategic deception is consistent with the region's history, where misattribution of attacks is often used to manipulate alliances and create confusion. Turkey's military response was swift. NATO assets in the eastern Mediterranean intercepted and neutralized the incoming missiles, demonstrating the effectiveness of integrated air and missile defense systems. The Turkish Ministry of Defense emphasized that decisive measures were taken to protect national territory and that any threat to sovereignty will be countered without hesitation. Ankara also signaled to NATO and regional powers that it will defend its airspace and borders aggressively, regardless of political pressures. The regional implications are profound. Turkey's unique position as both a NATO member and a major Islamic nation gives it unparalleled influence. If Turkey were to escalate militarily, it could reshape alliances in the Middle East. Arab nations, hesitant to enter the conflict, are closely monitoring developments. Some may remain neutral, while others could be drawn into a larger confrontation. Pakistan's mediation, supported by China, may temporarily reduce tensions, but sabotage or misinformation could undermine diplomatic efforts. Analysts warn that the situation remains fluid and extremely volatile. Looking back at recent history, Turkey has faced several military crises involving both neighboring countries and global powers. From involvement in Syria to tensions with Israel over security operations, Ankara has repeatedly demonstrated its willingness to act independently when strategic interests are threatened. This latest missile strike appears designed to test Turkey's resolve, as well as NATO's unity. Internal divisions within NATO further complicate the response. Some member nations are reluctant to fully support US-led operations, creating a fragmented coalition that could embolden aggressors. On the technological front, the missiles themselves reflect advanced military capabilities. They were ballistic in nature, capable of long-range precision strikes, and engineered to bypass conventional defense systems. Experts highlight that one of the missiles mimicked Iranian drone technology, indicating sophisticated reverse engineering and possibly the use of decoy tactics. This level of technological sophistication suggests that the perpetrators intended not only to strike Turkey, but also to send a strategic message to all regional and global players observing the conflict. Diplomacy remains a critical factor. Pakistan's active engagement, working closely with China, demonstrates the importance of regional mediators in preventing full-scale war. Both countries are coordinating with Arab states, attempting to de-escalate tensions and secure commitments for a ceasefire. However, with multiple actors pursuing conflicting interests, the success of these efforts is uncertain. Analysts caution that any miscommunication could spark further military action, leading to an unpredictable chain of events with far-reaching consequences. From a strategic perspective, Turkey's response will be closely scrutinized. Ankara must balance its NATO obligations with the need to protect national sovereignty and regional influence. If Turkey decides to escalate militarily, it could alter the regional power dynamic, potentially drawing Iran and Israel into direct confrontation. Conversely, a restrained approach may preserve stability but could be interpreted as weakness by adversaries, inviting further attacks. The delicate balance of power in the Middle East is at stake, and every decision carries significant risk. The missile strikes also highlight the role of intelligence in modern conflict. Identifying the true perpetrators behind such attacks is challenging, particularly when deception and misinformation are employed. Analysts are currently studying flight paths, launch signatures, and satellite data to determine whether Iran acted independently or if Israel or another actor orchestrated a false flag operation. The use of advanced drones and mimicry of Iranian technology suggests a calculated attempt to manipulate international perception and force a strategic response from multiple governments. Meanwhile, the psychological impact on regional populations cannot be understated. Citizens in Turkey and neighboring countries are understandably anxious. News of ballistic missile attacks and potential escalation creates widespread fear, complicating the ability of governments to maintain public calm. Political leaders must manage both national security and public perception, a delicate task in times of crisis. The perception of imminent war can influence economic stability, investor confidence, and social cohesion, adding layers of complexity to an already tense situation. Turkey's military capabilities are considerable. With advanced air defense systems, a substantial air force, and modern naval assets, Ankara is equipped to defend against high-level threats. Nevertheless, the successful interception of 4 ballistic missiles demonstrates both the effectiveness and the necessity of these systems. Analysts note that had even one missile penetrated Turkish defenses, the consequences could have been catastrophic, potentially resulting in significant casualties, damage to infrastructure, and triggering a wider conflict involving NATO allies. Iran's position remains ambiguous. While officially denying responsibility, Tehran has historically employed both direct and proxy operations in the region. Israel, on the other hand, has the capability to conduct precision strikes and is known for proactive regional strategies. The United States, technologically advanced but diplomatically constrained, faces significant challenges in coordinating allies and maintaining global credibility. This complex interplay between nations underscores the precariousness of the current situation and the difficulty in predicting future developments. As events unfold, analysts emphasize the importance of monitoring Turkey's actions closely. Ankara's military and diplomatic responses will shape the next phase of the crisis. Decisions regarding defense, engagement with NATO, and communication with regional powers will determine whether escalation can be avoided. Every missile launch, military exercise, and diplomatic statement is scrutinized for clues about intentions and potential consequences. The involvement of China adds another layer of complexity. By supporting Pakistan's mediation efforts, Beijing demonstrates a growing willingness to influence Middle Eastern security matters. China's engagement may stabilize the situation temporarily, but it also signals a shift in global power dynamics. The balance of power in the Middle East is no longer solely influenced by the United States, Europe, or regional actors. Major Asian powers are increasingly significant players in diplomatic and security calculations. Meanwhile, Arab nations face critical choices. Will they be drawn into direct conflict, remain neutral, or leverage their position to extract concessions from larger powers? Recent attacks on key Arab facilities, falsely attributed to Iran, illustrate the dangers of misattribution and the potential for rapid escalation. Coordination between Arab states, Turkey, and mediators like Pakistan and China is essential to prevent miscalculations that could ignite wider hostilities. The risk of a larger regional war is real. Analysts warn that any misstep, a missile misfire, a misinterpreted diplomatic message, or an uncoordinated military response could trigger a cascade of retaliatory actions. Historical patterns in the Middle East show that local conflicts can quickly escalate into multi-nation confrontations, with consequences extending far beyond the immediate region. Turkey's public statements emphasize decisiveness and readiness. Ankara has declared that all threats to national territory will be countered without hesitation. Surveillance and monitoring of regional developments are prioritized, reflecting both defensive preparedness and strategic deterrence. The message is clear: aggression against Turkey or attempts to manipulate the regional balance will be met with a firm and coordinated response. Pakistan continues to play a crucial role. Acting as a mediator, Pakistan coordinates with China and other stakeholders to prevent escalation. Its diplomatic efforts may lead to temporary de-escalation, but the fragility of these negotiations is evident. Analysts note that sabotage or misinformation could easily undermine these initiatives, prolonging uncertainty and increasing the likelihood of renewed hostilities. The attacks underscore the interconnected nature of modern conflicts. Military actions, technological capabilities, intelligence operations, and diplomatic negotiations all interact in complex ways. Misattribution, advanced weaponry, and rapid response systems create an environment where a single action can have cascading effects, impacting multiple nations and alliances simultaneously. In conclusion, for ballistic missiles targeted Turkey, NATO intercepted them, and Turkey's strategic and military significance make it a high-value target. Diplomatic efforts led by Pakistan and China continue, but the risk of escalation remains high. Arab nations, NATO members, Iran, Israel, and the United States are all closely monitoring developments, each with their own strategic calculations. The situation is fluid, unpredictable, and critical. Global attention remains focused on Ankara, Tehran, Washington, and Jerusalem, as the next moves could determine whether diplomacy prevails or the region slides into full-scale war. Turkey's response, NATO's defense, the role of Pakistan and China, and the ambiguous actions of Iran and Israel will shape the coming days. Citizens, governments, and analysts alike watch with bated breath, knowing that the balance of power in the Middle East is at a tipping point. The stakes are immense, the risks are high, and every decision carries profound consequences. Stay alert, stay informed, and understand that the events unfolding today in Turkey and across the Middle East will resonate for years to come. The next hours and days are crucial as global powers and regional actors navigate a precarious path between war and diplomacy. The world is watching, and the outcome of this crisis could redefine regional and global security for decades.